Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I am going to be doing a review of Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This is a kind of like a cult sci-fi book, and there was a Netflix movie that came out a few years ago which had Natalie Portman in it, and I did watch it and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the story. I just thought it was super fascinating, very unique. I'd never watched anything quite like it. So I've always had the book on my radar after I watched the movie. Recently, I'd had a few people kind of comment on my channel in various videos, Zara, you should read Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. So I bought the book and I read it. So here's my review of it. I have to say, overall, I really liked it. I'd heard that the book was different, and so I didn't really know what to expect. But I think Vandermeer is a very, very talented writer, and I'm very, very curious to read more of his books at some point in the future. So without further ado, let's jump into my review. As always, if you so wish to read a summary about this book, go and check it out on Goodreads, but I'm just going to jump straight in. So the good. Probably my favourite thing about this book is the air of mystery that we have in this world that we never really get answers to. Something feels a bit off, something feels a little bit weird, and yet we don't really know what, and we don't really know why, and I just love it. I love it. I love that almost oppressive feeling where something feels really disconcerting and it feels really creepy, and you know something might go down at any point, but you don't know when or who's going to be doing it or how. Like you just don't know anything about it. And that's how I felt throughout the entirety of this book. And I think Vandermeer has an incredible writing ability to make it feel very atmospheric throughout the entire book. Like, that takes skill, and he exhibits that skill throughout the entirety of this book. The world building is also great. This world that we are in feels very, very alive. There's one part where the scientists explore it's like a chamber essentially that goes down into the ground. And it's just very disconcerting, you know, when we get the sense of the winding stairs going down and the fact that they like rappel into it, if I remember correctly. Like, it just feels very weird and very claustrophobic. And I wouldn't want to be in that situation if I'm being completely honest. But reading it as we're following our main character, it was just really, really fun. Like, it was really, really, I really enjoyed it personally. I think a lot of people might not enjoy that, but I personally loved it because I could feel how off everything felt. It feels very lethargic as well. Like, I actually felt quite lethargic as I was reading it, but like in a good way, because that meant that he was writing it in such a way that felt very real and intimate. Like, I've not really read many sci-fi authors that does that very well, and I think Vandermeer does it exceptionally well in this book. The next thing I'm going to touch upon is the characters. This book is a really short book. I think it's like 200 pages and it reads really quickly, and yet we get a surprising amount of depth with each of the characters, considering how short this book is. We follow a biologist, that's our main character, a psychologist, a surveyor, and an anthropologist. There is also a linguist as well, but we never actually meet this character. She's just there in the background. She was supposed to be on the expedition with the other characters, but she never actually makes it because she doesn't wish to join. So we already have that disconcerting start to the expedition. The biologist is very evasive. She's very perceptive. She's one of those people that I feel like never really has lived. You know, she got married, she had a very bland relationship with her husband. She's just there, you know, she's just there existing. Whether she's enjoying herself and liking what she does, I don't think she is. She's just there. She's just floating in the sky, doing what she needs to do. But it was quite interesting to read it from her perspective because we see her observations about the world that we're in and also about the other characters. And we do realise that she's actually very in tune with how other people are and with how the world is as well, which I thought was really cool to read. The next character I'm going to talk about is the psychologist. Probably the most interesting character, actually, and that's because she's sneaky, she's controlling. You can tell she knows more than she's letting on, and I just didn't trust her. I didn't trust her from the moment that we met her, and we definitely get that from the biologist as well. And so I quite liked seeing how the biologist would try to outsmart psychologist, especially when she was trying to hypnotize people. I just think that was really fun to read. The psychologist as well, you know, she's one of the most kind of constant parts of the story. She's also the one that I'm most curious about in terms of her background, but we don't actually get much of that in this book, which I would have liked more of, but I understand why Vandermeer didn't explore it more. And then the last one I'm going to mention is a character, but it's like not really a character, it's more like a being, and that is the Crawler, which was super creepy and very weird. It's essentially this entity that is at the bottom of the tower that they go in at the start, and it's just doing weird stuff, like it's writing stuff on the walls, and yeah, we don't really know what it means, but then it's also very violent at the same time. One of the most interesting things that I realised about the Crawler, and skip ahead about 20 seconds if you don't want to hear a spoiler, is the fact that it had the lighthouse keeper's face when it tries to attack the biologist towards the end of the book. Like, that honestly creeped me out so much. Like, I got goosebumps when I read that bit. I don't remember that being in the film, but I really enjoyed the Crawler as a concept. I just would have liked more of the Crawler in it. I don't actually remember the Crawler being in the movie though, so I don't know if I just completely missed that. Like, I actually really want to rewatch the film now I've read the book. It added a creepy element to it that was needed, and it did it very, very well. There are other characters, but I'm not going to go into those for now because those were my favourite ones. And then let's move on to the themes. I think there's some really interesting thematic work around like belonging and kind of finding one's purpose and path. Kind of this whole concept of discovery and finding new biological entities. Like, I think there's some really interesting stuff going on there. I think there's some really interesting stuff about like memory as well, because the biologist, who, like I said, is the main POV that we're following, she kind of forgets things but then also remembers things. You know, she's not a very reliable narrator because of that, and I just would have loved more exploration of that as well, because we get her memories of like her time with her husband as an example, but I felt like it was quite surface level. I think the thematic work was interesting. I just would have liked more exploration of it. I do know there is a book 2 and a book 3, but I think they are both following different sets of characters, and they're set like decades apart from what I understand. I think the characters in this book, you know, their arcs are complete. I don't think we really get much more with them. So I think thematically wise, it was a bit weak, and I would have just wanted more. And I think that's one of my biggest criticisms of this entire book, is that I just wanted more. You know, I wanted more time with the characters. I wanted more exploration of the area that these people are exploring. I wanted more creepiness. I wanted more drama at the same time. Like, I just wanted more. I wanted the book to be longer. It should have been like 2 or 3 times the size, and really delved into this place. And I think that's why I really like the movie, because it did justice to it in that way from what I remember. Like, we're exploring with the characters for a very large part of the book, and that was just missing from it, and I really wish we'd had more. I gave this book a 4 stars. It's a really solid sci-fi book. It's a sci-fi book that I will think about for a while. I am still been thinking about it since I read it a few weeks ago. I do really like Vandermeer's writing style. Please recommend me more Vandermeer books, because I would love to read more of his stuff. I do have a few on my wish list that I would like to buy at some point. I probably won't read books 2 and 3 of this series because I just don't really have any interest, because we're not following the same characters. But I think it's a really quick, solid read, and I think it will make you think about things in ways that you probably wouldn't anticipate. And I'm all for that. So overall, fun time. Had a good time, really enjoyed it. Vandermeer is definitely on my radar now. And I just want to thank all the people that pushed me to read this, because I did really enjoy it. So that's it. Thank you for watching my review. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, so comment down below and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.